Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We will be reading this morning from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, chapter 18, the prayers offered to the Lord by the residents of Jambudvip, text 12. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Nasbhesya Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamastuke Bhaktir Bhaktinaistuke Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinshana Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinshana Sarveh Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manoratena Satidavato Vahi Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinshana Sarveh Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manoratena Satidavato Vahi Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinshana Sarveh Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manoratena Satidavato Vahi Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavata Kinshana Sarve Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manoratena Satidavato Vahi Vasyakti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinshana Sarve Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manoratena Satidavato Vahi. Ladies, Bhagavati Bhakti Bhagavati Akinshana Sarve Gunastatra Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna Manurhate sa sati davato bahi. What for a translation? That Yasya of whom? Wait, of whom?
Of whom?
Yeah. Asti, there is bhakti, devotional service. Bhagavati, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Akinchana, without any motive. Sarvai, with all. Gunai, good qualities. Tatra, there, in that person. Samasate, resides. Sura, all the demigods. Ara, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhaktasya, of a person who is not devoted. Kuta, where? Mahat Gunaha, good qualities. Manoratena, by mental speculation. Asati, in the temporary material world. Davata, who is running. Bahi, outside. Now we have the purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, translation and purport. Srila Prabhupada ki. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Purport. As explained in the next verse, Krishna is the original source of all living entities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, wherein Krishna says, Mamaivam so jivya loke jiva bhuta sanatana manasastan indriyani pragatistani kasati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very, very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. All living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore they revive their original Krishna consciousness. They possess all the good qualities of Krishna in a small quantity. When one engages himself in the 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Marjam Varnam Dasyam Sakram Atma Nivedanam, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23, one's heart becomes purified and he immediately understands his relationship with Krishna. He then revives his original quality of Krishna consciousness. In the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, there is a description of some of the qualities of devotees. For example, see Pandit Haridas described as being very well behaved, tolerant, peaceful, magnanimous, and grave. In addition, he spoke very sweetly. His endeavors were very pleasing. He was always patient. He respected everyone. He always worked for everyone's benefit. His mind was free of duplicity, and he was completely devoid of all malicious activities. These are all originally qualities of Krishna, and when one becomes a devotee, they automatically become manifest. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that all good qualities become manifest in the body of a Vaishnava, and that only by the presence of these qualities can one distinguish a Vaishnava from a non-Vaishnava. Krishnadas Kaviraj lists the following 26 good qualities of a Vaishnava. 1. Is very kind to everyone. 2. He does not make anyone his enemy. 3. Is truthful. 4. Is equal to everyone. 5. No one can find any fault in him. 6 is magnanimous. 7 is mild. 8 is always clean. 9 is without possessions. 10. He works for everyone's benefit. 11 is very peaceful. 12 is always surrendered to Krishna. 13 he has no material desires. 14 is very meek. 15 is steady. 16 he controls his senses. 17 he does not eat more than required. 18 is not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. 19 he offers respect to everyone. 20 he does not desire any respect for himself. 21 is very grave. 22 is merciful. 23 is friendly. 24 is poetic. 25 is expert. 26 is silent. I read the verse once again. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavata kinchana sarve kunastatra samasate suram. Arava bhaktasya kuto mahat guna Manoratena satidavato bahi. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation come manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jananjana Shanakaya Shakshvanvitam Yena Tasmai Shikarabai Namah Shitchitayamanovistam Staptam Yena Bhutalit Svam Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamanam Shigam Vaishnavamsha Shirupam Charajatam Sakanaragnatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjanasaitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagalita Shivishakam Kvitamasha Hey Krishna Guna Sindhu Dinabando Jadpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kamsana Gauri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Pranamama Hari Priya Pankha Kalpa Taubhyasha Kripa Sindhuvevasya Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Satangani Srila Prabhupada ki. So the teachings of Bhagavad Gita begins with explaining that we are a spirit soul, eternal spirit soul. And the soul has its qualities, its natural qualities. That in the purport here, 26 qualities are mentioned. But these qualities are covered over now by material qualities, and where our spiritual qualities have become unmanifest due to the covering of these qualities, the covering of our consciousness. Material covering, and by that, these qualities do not manifest, and we cannot understand our real self. That is an issue. That because our original spiritual consciousness is covered by the three modes of nature. In 7.13 in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I am above the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And therefore, no one knows me in this world because I'm above the modes. So we are covered by these modes, and we cannot know Krishna. And when we don't know Krishna, then we don't know who we are. Mamaibam Sech Velaka Jiva Buddha Sanatana. Explained here in the purport. We are a part and parcel of Krishna. We forget that. But the process of Krishna consciousness is a process of removing this covering. And as this covering is removed, this ignorance of darkness, then our true qualities become manifest. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami lists 26 qualities of a pure devotee, which are mentioned here in the purport. That it's very important to understand that we read these qualities. It's like a test case. Am I spiritual advanced? To what extent am I spiritually advanced? We can check with these 26 qualities, but don't be disheartened to discover you don't have practically any of them. But if we practice devotional service thoroughly, they become manifest again. Now, this is a very heavy verse. It says, the devotees, they have good qualities, but the materialistic people, they have no good qualities at all. Zero. A heavy verse. How can we understand that? To understand that, we need to know what are real qualities. That in Bhagavad Gita, it's explained in the second chapter. What is eternal is valuable, right? But what's temporary is not valuable. So material qualities are qualities which are temporary, are related to the body, and we lose all them when we die. So they are not real qualities in that sense. But spiritual qualities are different. Spiritual qualities, Krishna says in the second chapter, 240 Bhagavad Gita. In this process, there is no loss of diminution. That no, if you develop, and Prabhupada explains in the purport, when you have developed 2% Krishna consciousness in this life, next life you start with 2%. There is no loss. So once you regain these qualities, you regain them for eternity. In your next life, even if you don't go back to the spiritual world, the qualities which have been reawakened, uncovered, they will manifest very quickly again. So materialistic people can have many qualities, especially the big materialists. They have the quality how to exploit material nature and enjoy it. That's their qualities. And that's called in Bhagavad Gita demoniac qualities. So who has these qualities to the greatest extent? Of course, Krishna. Krishna has 64 qualities, as mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. He has 4 unique qualities, which Lord Narayan does not have. Lord Narayan has 60 qualities, and Lord Shiva has 55, and the living entities have 50 qualities. And Brahma has them practically in full. But we have also these 50 qualities, the minor, very minor. But here it's 26 qualities of pure devotees, but there are many other qualities. Yesterday, we made a walk, Ambarishpo and me, and we came before a tree, and we asked, what kind of tree is that? And Ambarishpo took a picture and asked Google, what kind of tree is that? And it came out, it was a plum tree. Plums. So a tree is named according to its fruits. Apple tree and so many trees. Now, if we speak about the spiritual qualities, who has these spiritual qualities besides Krishna and the Vishnu Tattva? Or where's these qualities in the greatest extent? That was also a question asked by Narada Muni. And Sanatana Goswami has written Briyat Bhagavatamrita. And there's 2 stories. And one story is Narada Muni is searching for the greatest devotee. And he goes from one devotee to another, it gets always the same answer. One devotee saying, no, I'm not the greatest, because of this and that and that. And then, but this devotee is greater, and Narada Muni then goes to the next and goes from one to another. But finally, it comes to the gopis, and among the gopis, Srimati Radharani has the highest qualities. So we see on the screen there. I received this morning, and I was thinking I will share it with you, because recognizing the 3 white fruits, so that we discussed already, that But then you go down to the next slide. This is a quote of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that I will read that. It describes the qualities of Srimati Radharani, that how Srimati Radharani has the greatest qualities. Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 7. But you don't have to repeat, huh? Tayorapi ubayor matye radhika sarva sarvatatika mahabhava svarupeyam guner ati varishasi. Of these two gopis, Radharani and Chandravali, Srimati Radharani is superior in all respects. She is the embodiment of Mahabhav, and she surpasses in all good qualities. So Srimati Radharani is glorified here. You have Chandravali, and you have Radharani. You have two kinds of gopis in a different mood. That east wing gopis and the other gopis anyway. But there is a different mood between Srimati Radharani and Chandravali. That Chandravali says, I'm Krishna's. I belong to Krishna. That's the mood of Chandravali. The mood of Radharani is different. She said, no, Krishna is mine. That she has this mamata. Krishna is mine. That possessiveness towards Krishna. But Srimati Radharani and her gopis is also the mood of our sampradaya. Until when can I go with the class? Okay, because a lot of things to say on this. So I was speaking about Chandravali and Radharani and how our mood of our sampradaya is the mood of Srimati Radharani. I remember 10 years ago, I was in the UK, in Leicester, and my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamaj came to give a seminar. During that seminar, I asked him, it seems the mood of our sampradaya is in the mood of these gopis. They are all manjaris, Rupa Manjari and so on. And he said, yes, this is our mood. The mood of Srimati Radharani. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he was one of our great followers of Lord Chaitanya, very renounced, but he was also in this mood, the mood of Srimati Radharani. I don't know his position in the spiritual world, but it's related closely to Srimati Radharani. But at the end of his life, like one of the qualities here, it's mentioned, a pure devotee does not eat much, just what is needed. So he was eating every day, every 2 days only, a leaf cup of, a small leaf cup of dai yogurt. And the devotees were concerned, he's not eating anything anymore, just that every 2 days he's going to leave his body. So they made a plan. So they made a leaf cup, but then, well, leaf cups are made of leaves, right? So in Vrindavan, around Radhakund, you have all these gardens. But there you have also the garden of Chandravali. And in that garden, there was a tree with big leaves. So they make a plan to make big leaves, a cup with big leaves. And they filled it up with dahi, with yogurt. And they brought it to Raghunath, the leaf cup. And when Raghunath Goswami saw this leaf cup, he took it in his hand and smashed it on the ground and said, "How do you dare me to bring something from Chandravali's garden?" So there's a rivalry there. Anyway, this is too esoteric. But so this qualities of Srimati Radharani, we'll see them further. Go to the next slide. Here, qualities of Srimati Radharani are described. Krishna prema pavitayanya shitandrikaya Krishna nyasakti radhakridari sahaya. Her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy, and she helps him in his pastimes. So her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. Purport. Let's see. Srimati Radharani is as fully spiritual as Krishna. No one should consider her to be material. She is definitely not like the conditioned souls who have material bodies, gross and subtle, covered by material senses. She is all spiritual, and both her body and her mind are of the same spiritual embodiment. Because our body is spiritual, our senses are also spiritual. Thus our body, mind, and senses fully shine in love, and she is the personified Ladini Shakti, and therefore she is the only source of enjoyment in Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna cannot enjoy anything that is internally different from him. Therefore Radha and Sri Krishna are identical. The Sandini portion of Sri Krishna, internal potency, has manifested the all-attractive form of Sri Krishna, and the same internal potency in Ladini feature has presented Srimati Radharani, who is attraction for the all-attractive. No one can match Srimati Radharani in the transcendental pastimes of Sri Krishna. So internal energy, let's try to understand it. You have three types of material energy. What are these three types? The modes of nature, yes. It's goodness, passion, ignorance. And you have three spiritual energies. What are these spiritual energies? That is the Satchidananda is related to that, but that's not the name of the energies. Energies is Sandini, Samvit, and Ladini. It's mentioned, we read in the purport here, the Sandini potency. That's, Krishna's beautiful form is related to that potency. That Samvit means spiritual knowledge. That and Ladini is Krishna's pleasure potency. That it's the potency that gives pleasure to Krishna. That and if we want to give pleasure to Krishna, we must be connected with that potency. Potency is, who controls this potency? Srimati Radharani. So we need the mercy of Srimati Radharani. How do we get the mercy of Srimati Radharani? Very important. There's a practice, but to get the mercy, who can give you the mercy? Who can give you the mercy of Srimati Radharani? The Srimati Radharani gives you the mercy of one who can give it. No, we should learn this. This is very important. Without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we don't get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Radha and Krishna. It's Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Radha and Krishna together. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we can get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we need the mercy of the spiritual master. That's important. Therefore, we always chant first the Panchatattva mantra, and then first the mercy of the spiritual master, the Pranam mantra, and then the Panchatattva mantra, and then the Hare Krishna mantra. It's very important that the mercy, and if we get the mercy of Srimati Radharani, then we get some of our qualities, gradually, spiritual qualities develop. But to develop these spiritual qualities, what must one do in one's life to develop spiritual qualities? It's important. Yeah, that's a good beginning. That to get the qualities, yeah, one must perform devotional service. It comes all from devotional service. If we perform devotional service, then we don't have to endeavor for developing these qualities. They will naturally develop through devotional service, because devotional service, if practiced properly, and we come to anartha nivritti, then the uncovering of the ignorance of the soul starts to work, and these qualities become manifest little by little. Okay, back to our good. Next slide is, oh yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the Hare is the vocative of Hara. Hara is Radharani. That's okay. Next slide. That, of course, these are the famous verses glorifying Srimati Radharani. We say that every day, but it's good to remember what it means. Tapta Kansna Gauri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudate Pranamama Hari Priye. O Srimati Radharani, I offer my respects to you. whose bodily complexion is like molten gold. O goddess, you are the queen of Vrindavan, you are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and are very dear to Lord Krishna. Tayorapi ubayor madhye radhika sarvatatika. Mabha Visvarupeyam Guner Atisyam Yam Vita. Among all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is topmost. She is the very embodiment of Mahabhav. She is endowed with extraordinary, unsurpassed qualities. First, Srimati Radharani is Hladini Shakti. She is Krishna's Shakti, energy. She is not a living entity like we. It's not just a jiva or no. It's a Shakti. That's the first thing. That she is the very embodiment of Mahabhav. So Krishna consciousness is a process with stages, 9 stages. The verse of Rupa Goswami. Adao Shato Tatat Sadhusanga. First is faith, then Sadhusanga, that association with devotees. When accept the spiritual master, gets instructions from him how to perform devotional service, but then you have to bring them in practice. Perform devotional service. That brings you to the next stage, Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya. That we will speak a little further about this Bhajana Kriya, the practice, but then when you practice it properly and you have the right internal mood, which is described by Lord Chaitanya, Trinatapi Sunichana Torave Saisnan, Amana Manadana Kirtanya Sadahri, have to be more humble than a stone in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all false prestige, ready to give all honor to others, not asking any honor for oneself. One has that mood, then one's heart will become purified. If one is not tolerant, not humble, one's heart does not become purified. That's the right mood. And then you come to anartha nivritti. The heart becomes purified. Then come to nishta. Nishta is liberation. No material desires anymore. Then your suffering is finished. No suffering. That if you still suffer, you are not in nishta. You are not liberated. It's very easy to check. And then after that, you become attracted to Krishna. That this rati comes, that ruchi, taste, great taste. Then it's easy to think of Krishna. Because you want, that's the only thing still what you want, to think of Krishna. And then you become attracted. That ruchi is like you have iron and a magnet, and the iron becomes attracted to the magnet. That becomes attracted. So naturally you are drawn towards Krishna. And you only want to think of Krishna, and you start to constantly think of Krishna. And then Krishna will manifest in your heart as Shakti. That you live always in a relationship with Krishna. And then you develop this love. The preliminary stage of this love is bhava. And then when that becomes more intense, intensified, then you come to prema. And then it's finished? No. Prema is 7 stages. No, if I remember them, that 7 stages. I know it's Mana, Pranaya. There's another stage. And then Raga, Anuraga. Then Bhava as a stage of prema. And then Mahabhav. That's the highest. Only Srimati Radharani has this highest stage, Mahabhav. And Lord Chaitanya, of course. Of course, when Srimati Radharani comes in this highest stage of Mahabhav, the gopis also come to that stage. They go with her to that stage. And that, good, that's Mahabhav. That, yeah, then you have this next stage, yeah, pleasure Ladini, yeah, okay, next one. Some devotees give joy to others wherever they go. Some devotees give joy to others wherever they go. Yeah, you see the beautiful picture there, the kirtan. Everyone is smiling. That during the communistic time in the USSR, they were prosecuting devotees. KBG were prosecuting them, trying to catch them, put them in psychiatric clinics, giving their injunctions, trying to kill them anyway. But the KBG, the secret service in Russia, they had a policy. So it's very easy to identify these members of this Hare Krishna sect. They are always smiling. So we are always smiling. That also when Prabhupada was in North America, I think in Boston, a priest came to him and I said, yes, what did you do with our boys? These are our boys. Before they didn't want to know about religion. Now they are mad of God. What did you do with them? They are always smiling. They are bright-faced. So that's a symptom. That shows devotees are under this internal energy, Srimati Radharani. Yeah, the next is a bucket list. We have so many things to do in this world, but what's more important is things to be. This Trinata Krishna verse, humble, kind, truthful, compassionate. These are all the qualities. Now, the next slide is from the Nectar of Instruction that there are different kinds of people with different kinds of consciousness are described. And the highest consciousness is this consciousness of Srimati Radharani. Let's see. I can read it. Yeah, I read the translation. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge, may take to devotional service. He is superior to others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent on Sri Krishna, the transcendental coward voice. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic feelings, apakrita bhav, render loving service to the divine couple of Shishirada, Govinda, who perform their Astakali Lila, their eternal eightfold pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people of the universe. Of course, there's a lot to say about this verse. But like I said in the beginning, we are a spirit soul. And we have these qualities are within us, all these spiritual qualities, but they are covered by material consciousness. We remove this material consciousness, and when it's removed, we start to identify with the spiritual body. The spiritual body becomes manifest within this body. Prabhupada always explains, he said, look, you see my hand, Prabhupada said, this, you see a gross hand and gross arm, but beneath there is a subtle hand and subtle arm, because the gross body is built upon the subtle body. But the subtle body is there because you have the subtle arm and hand. Beneath the subtle arm and hand is a spiritual hand and arms. Because without the spiritual body, the subtle body cannot exist and the gross body cannot exist. So by devotional service, we remove the ignorance and we start to identify with the spiritual body again, not with the gross body. It is mentioned in the scriptures like one who is in prema is like a drunken man. The drunken man is completely drunken. He's not aware whether he wears clothes or not. So one who is in prema, he identifies with the spiritual body, and the gross and subtle body is not aware of that. No awareness anymore. At a certain moment, it falls away and goes to the spiritual world. But those advanced souls, right, like Raghunadas Goswami and so on, they are at Radhakund worshipping Krishna. That in their spiritual body, it is mentioned here, and that this aprakrita bhav. Anyway, it becomes too esoteric to explain all this. If I have to explain aprakrita bhav, that's another lesson of 1 hour. I'm not going to do that now, but it's in a spiritual body charged with ecstatic devotional feelings. These ecstatic devotional feelings are all the spiritual qualities that manifest in your body, your spiritual body. So that is the perfection. These are the qualities. Yeah. Of course, and the next slide, next, you have in the scriptures, you have so many qualities described. Qualities of transcendentalists in the 2nd chapter. Arjuna is asking on Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, because Krishna spoke about Stita Prajna, one who is steady in yoga practice, that who is on the transcendental platform. And Arjuna is asking Krishna, such a transcendentalist, how does he speak? How does he walk? What are his qualities? And therefore, Krishna explains all his qualities from 255 till the end of the chapter. Whole list of qualities which we need to develop. They will develop as we perform devotional service. And then is the qualities of a yogi in the 6th chapter. And that especially the yogi controls his mind. Learning to control his mind and all these qualities. The qualities of a Mahatma in the 9th chapter, 9:13, Krishna says, Mahatmas tamamparta devim pragati ashrita. The Mahatma is one who knows. how to connect with the spiritual energy. That's his quality. He knows that, how to do that. And how did he come to that? 9:14. Satatam kirtiyantamam yatanta shadrita. By always, with great determination, perform devotional service by chanting the holy names of Krishna and so on. And then you have, in the chapter, in chapter 12, of course, the qualities of the devotees are described, which are many of these qualities we find also in these 26 qualities of pure devotees. It starts from 12:14, Advesta Sarva Bhutana Maitra Karuna Ivasha. Now, Advesta Sarva Bhutana, and that's the first most quality, that's the first quality that develops here. You become non-envious to all living entities, that you become merciful to everyone, that you become equal in happiness and distress. And Krishna says, gives so many qualities till the end of the chapter, from 14 till 20. And Krishna every time says, these qualities are very dear to me. So if we develop these qualities, Krishna is very dear to us. And in sadhana bhakti, we can develop them. It's good to read them every day and see, did I develop them? That's because it's always good to have, although they develop automatically with devotional service, we should be concerned about developing these qualities. And by reading them, we helps to develop these qualities again. Yes. And then chapter 13, very interesting, the qualities of knowledge. There, Krishna, from chapter 13, from verse 8 till 12, he gives a whole list of someone who is situated in knowledge. 21 qualities he mentioned. That one who is in knowledge, one who understands the evil of attachment to family life, to home, and so many qualities are the evil. One understands the evil of birth and death. And so many qualities are developed of one with in knowledge, that transcendental knowledge, who sees to transcendental knowledge. It's important to read them regularly, but there are, from these 21, there are two most important qualities. Someone knows these two most important qualities of these 21 qualities listed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 18:12, 8 to 12. I'll tell you, two most important is, first take shelter of bona fide spiritual master. The spiritual master teaches you how to perform devotional service. Then you perform devotional service. And by the performance of devotional service, all the other qualities of knowledge develop automatically. And that's the same is said in the purpose of the verse we discussed today. If we perform devotional service, all good qualities will develop, also included knowledge. And then you have the divine and the demoniac qualities. The demonic qualities we know, being in this material world. The divine qualities are rare. Divine qualities start with Abhaya, Sattva, Samsudir, Jnana, Yoga, Vyavastiti. These are the qualities of one who is liberated. Abhaya is fearless because he knows I'm not going to die, I'm spiritual. I'm a servant of Krishna. No, nobody can kill your consciousness. So, sattva samsudeh, striving for purification. That's a devotee. He always strives for purification. That we discussed that yesterday, that Bhagavad Gita verse, that jnana yoga vyavastiti. That one who is on the transcendental platform, he knows the scriptures very well, transcendental knowledge. That yes, and there are much more qualities there described of devotees. And then you have qualities of persons in the different gunas, chapter 13, of course. And chapter 8, 18 qualities of different varnas. That's all in Bhagavad Gita. Next slide. So we have material robes and transcendental robes. Material modes, the gunas. So from the moment we are acting on the material platform, separate from Krishna, wanting to enjoy, thinking ourselves the proprietor, we are immediately grabbed by Maya. Maya gets us. But if we perform devotional service for Krishna, we come under Krishna's robes, and that will liberate us. Anyway, I discussed 13 of these slides. There are much more to say about qualities that Amarish Prabhu can send you, the PowerPoint, you can go through it, but it's good, a good meditation on these qualities. So any further questions?
My question is, you mentioned it's very important to get most of the dollar and get most of the dollar and most of the. Are there any specific prayers that are recommended in your shastras to please Srimati Radharani?
The mercy of Srimati Radharani becomes manifest of that. Let's say it very simple. The representative of the mercy of Srimati Radharani is the spiritual master. That mercy comes down to the Guru Parampara, to Prabhupada. So praying to Prabhupada, our spiritual master, and to Srila Prabhupada. That is very important. And following their instructions. And that is the guidance to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. If you get the mercy of Srimati Radharani, if Srimati Radharani is pleased with you, then Krishna, Srimati Radharani recommends you to Krishna. Srimati Radharani says to Krishna, look, Krishna, this devotee is better than me. and then you get the mercy. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada, when he arrived in America, in Boston, on the boat he wrote, Yaladuta, he wrote 2 poems, Markini Bhagavat Dharma, and the other was Prayer to the Lotus Feet of Lord Krishna. And the refrain of that poem is that, oh, my brother, believe me, unless You get the mercy of Srimad Radharani, your life is spoiled. So that's an important lesson. But this mercy comes to the spiritual master. He's a representative of Srimad Radharani. Good. Thank you very much. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.